Hi everyone, or anyone watching. Thought I'd go live today. I haven't done a live stream for quite a while, and yeah, I've got an opportunity to talk about something, and I thought I would, rather than just tell you what my thoughts are, ask opinions. And what better way than to do a live stream? I know it'll go on YouTube afterwards, so hopefully more people will see it. But yeah, I'm hoping to have some interaction. I'm hoping to have some ideas and thoughts about what could be done, but most importantly, I need to try and ascertain numbers of how many people would be interested in contributing and helping to something like this. So what am I talking about? By the way, if you're joining me on this live stream, make yourself known, send me a message so I know you're there. It's great to say hello to anyone that is watching. So yeah, what's been happening? The other day, I met with a local councillor and I was talking to him about installing a rapid charger at the local community hall that they're having built. And that's proceeding, that's going very, very well. Which charger they end up getting installed, I'm not quite sure, but they're definitely proceeding, they're definitely looking at options. I think being a council, you've got to have different quotations from different people. So they are looking at options and I've helped them with that. That's really good. But part of that discussion, I was telling the councillor that an idea that I have is I'd like to see some roads closed off in Norwich and a mass EV demonstration of just EV traffic driving around Norwich. So local residents, shop owners, anyone that's around, shoppers in the city centre itself, if possible, can tangibly see the difference and hear the difference that it will make to not have diesel and petrol cars driving on the roads and just EVs. And that vision that I can have just makes me think that by seeing tangibly them all there, not just one or two parked at the side of the road that you can have a look around, but actually driving, the experience of being in an environment where there is no road noise apart from obviously the whoosh and the tyre noise and that sort of thing, it should help adoption. It should help people be more enthusiastic towards EVs. Additionally, it should also help the council understand the potential and how good it could make the city. So maybe they'll have more EV friendly policies for the future. So it's a win-win. You know, hopefully the council will adopt more policies towards EVs and the community will see how great EVs are and will adopt sooner. And if that goes really, really well, why not in other towns and cities as well? So live demonstration of, you know, not 5 cars, not 10 cars, not maybe 20. I'd like to see 100 plus. I'd like to see a big road area, completely two-way traffic, EVs. So the problem is, how many people would come? How many people would travel to Norwich? How many people are around Norfolk that would be interested in contributing and being part of a mass live EV demonstration? And that's what I'd like to ask. Would you? Do you have an EV? Do you have access to an EV? Are you a car dealer, a car salesman? Would you bring an EV to Norwich for a day? But it's probably only going to be about an hour for the closed road. I'm sure it would be hard for a council to actually close some significant roads around Norwich for very long periods of time, but probably on a quieter day, like a Sunday, where it won't have such a big impact to businesses. Perhaps that's possible, but what are your thoughts? What are your ideas? What could work and what are the pitfalls to avoid? Obviously, we don't want anyone running out of juice. Norwich is a great place for that. There are lots of Instavolt chargers around. There's a nice pod point in the centre of Norwich at Lidl as well. So there's plenty of chargers to keep the cars topped up. But my thought again is just this vision of two-way traffic, just quiet EVs. And the difference that will make, that people just at the roadside seeing traffic but not hearing it in the same way and not having to choke on the fumes of diesels, that mass visualization, rather than being something that you see at a show or static cars, seeing it actually live in a city environment. I haven't seen that done before, so that's what I'm trying to encourage. The councillor basically said that he would take it to the mayor. He had a meeting with the mayor planned in the week, and he's done so. And the mayor wants me to submit a proposal for it. So it's progressed from an initial discussion with the councillor. It's now with the Lord Mayor of Norwich. And as soon as I can submit a proposal, they'll consider it, schedule it, get a timescale, etc. So it looks like it's something that might really happen. I understand the mayor has recently been appointed, so it's a great timing for them as well, to present something that's great for the environment and to be seen doing something positive for the city. So it just seems like a great opportunity. And I know Norwich and Norfolk are a little bit out of the way, stuck in the east side of the UK, but I'm sure we could accommodate lots and lots of people. Whether you fancy popping down for a day out, whether we can find some accommodation overnight for you. I know of several bed and breakfasts with EV charging, for example. There's lots of opportunities on depending on how far you're actually prepared to travel. But what a great day out, and what a great opportunity to be part of something. I'd like to suggest, huge. I'd like to suggest it's possible to have a absolutely huge number of EVs on the roads, but I honestly don't know how visible my videos will be, my tweets and my Facebook posts. I don't know how many people we could spread the word to and how many would actually come. And before I make the proposal to the mayor, this is the thing that I want to do. I want to ask how many people would be interested. How many people. Sorry, I'm just pressing the chat button to see if I can see any messages on there. I'm a silly sod sometimes. I do these videos and I haven't got a clue what buttons I'm pressing and what the impact is. So yeah, I hope you can hear this. I hope you can see this. And I haven't seen any messages pop up, so I don't know who's there. No, can't see anything. Anyway, sorry. I think it's a great opportunity, but I'm a little apprehensive of how many people we could encourage to be part of it, because if there was 5 or 10 cars going around, it would be absolutely useless. So there's no point in me submitting a proposal unless. Alan, thank you. Hello. Just trying to look at your profile picture there. It's so small on the screen. Welcome. Yeah, so I am a little apprehensive because I'm still new to this YouTube stuff. I'm not that well known. People that have followed my channel for quite a while probably see me as more of a public figure than it feels to me. To me, it just feels like an ordinary guy posting a few videos, and not many people know who I am. But then occasionally it takes me by surprise that people do know. So I'd like to think I could encourage. Oh, fantastic. Really, from Denmark. That would be awesome. Anyone coming from far afield, yeah, I could really look after you and make sure that you're well accommodated. Any particular dates in mind? Who submitted that? Mick. Hi, Malcolm. Great to see you. Dates. Well, I suppose the practical side of how the council would work is if they put it to a meetings proposal, it would probably have to go through a second proposal with different people for the transport side of the city, and that would take some slowing down of how it all work. So it's June now. I would imagine it'd be post summer. So get the summer holidays, school holidays out of the way. I would be guessing it would be sensible to think it's going to be September time, perhaps later September. As a guess, just on practical timings, I don't know how quickly councils could move with something like this. So it's completely new territory to me. I haven't done anything like this before. I haven't been involved in local or city councils before, so it's completely new. So yeah, post summer, I would have thought. I wouldn't want it to be winter, because you'd want people to be out experiencing it. So I think the advantage would be to make sure it was still summer and good weather. Being a weekend and getting it. Well, I don't know. Would inside school holidays be better? That might encourage more people to be able to come down as families. I'm not quite certain. What do you think? Do you think it'd be better inside, say, the school holiday period over the summer, or outside of that? But again, I'm thinking probably a Sunday for the practical side of how to close a road at a time when people are going to notice the traffic. Doing it midweek would be really hard. Doing it on a Saturday with all the peak shoppers would be really hard. But Sunday, a lot of businesses are closed. Yes, there are some shoppers. Sunday seems like a better opportunity to do it. Isn't that when they do cycle road races on a Sunday and they can close the roads for it? Charles, you're up for a day out. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'll look back through these messages and see how many people. I'll accumulate some thoughts. Daniel, you missed some. Yeah, I tried to put a timer up. This is my first time of submitting a YouTube video on a timed session to try and give a few people a heads up, but I literally only just decided to do this. I don't know if you can see in the background, but we're actually at a farm doing some dog agility. Susan's behind me, somewhere over there in the field, running around some hoops and angles. Let's just turn the camera around. So I'm literally sat on the edge of a hill, hoping that the car gets back up the wet, damp hill. And I just suddenly decided to do this because the email came through yesterday saying that the Lord Mayor wants the proposal. So it's a case of thinking, how will I encourage the right amount of support? And literally, I suppose the only way is to spread the word as much as possible, as fast as possible. So if you're watching this, when the video is finished and it's live, please share the link to the video. Please talk on social media to any people that you know have got AVs to see how many people would come to something like this. Yes, I know it'd help to have an actual date now, but without an idea that it's possible to have the right number of people, I'm not sure how I'm going to write that proposal. I need to make it sound like there's going to be quite a few to encourage them. So yeah, share, talk about it, and let's see how many people would be interested in coming. I do find it, I do find it a little strange sometimes that, I took to YouTube just over a year ago to talk about my journey with EVs and choosing an EV in a Kona, and I can't believe that that's transformed into council meetings now and talking about influencing things that are happening in the city of Norwich. It doesn't seem that difficult to get involved, and before you know it, you've stepped over that threshold of sitting in the background watching others do it, and you're actually participating, being an influencer yourself. And I do find it sometimes a little uncomfortable being in that position, but if I can really make that sort of difference and I can help others adopt EVs in and around the city, it really would be a better place. So yeah, I'm up for it. So I missed those last two messages. More difficult for you as you suspect you've got holiday plans already in place in August, perhaps better. Oh, can't quite see it. After August, yeah. So September would make more sense from holiday plan avoidance, yep. No idea what I'm proposing, Domhall Dodds. I'm proposing closing some roads in Norwich and having it as pure EV traffic. I sort of visualise, let's say, 50 EVs at one end of Norwich, 50 EVs at another end of Norwich, and two convoys driving towards the centre with police turning around and preventing diesel and petrol traffic going through some central roads, and those roads being purely for EVs for a period of time, half an hour or an hour, and for people in the city to actually experience road traffic two direction, just EVs, no diesels, no petrols anywhere. And that's what I'm proposing. So two convoys of EVs coming across both sides of the city so people can see this convoy of EVs and experience that for a distance, but then a closed road area, just EVs. Yeah, I can't believe I'm proposing police get involved or whatever and stop traffic going through the centre of Norwich, but it would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And there are some roads that are already closed to some traffic that are only available to buses and taxis. So it's quite possible that could be part of the closed road area that on a Sunday, I don't think there are buses running. So we could actually, for a period of time, take over the pure city centre, which would be a beautiful sight, just EVs. Does Norfolk Suffolk have an EV club that you can contact? Do you know, I don't think there is a Norfolk club yet. I hear and see all the Surrey clubs and the West Sussex clubs, and there are lots around. And I don't think there is a Norfolk one, and I haven't seen a Suffolk one, but that's what I'm hoping by spreading the word and starting that discussion, that it will get to some of those groups. The British Motor Museum, that there's an event going on there in, when is that? Is that July the 27th or 28th, something like that? I'm going to that, and they're encouraging a lot of car EV user groups. So I might contact them and ask for the details of the user groups and make sure that I request across to them. So, so maybe that's the way to go rather than a one-off event for certain days. More charges and already persuaded and genie to plan. Yeah, it really is a case of engaging with the councils. I do get the impression that there's a momentum building, there's an awareness of EVs, and people want to do things in respect of EVs, but it takes an initiative to get going. So yeah, I'm thinking that perhaps we can do that. Perhaps we can start something going. Honorary EV councillor, can you lobby for more free parking in EVs? Oops. Use of bus lanes. Oh, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? Yeah. EVs in bus lanes. Yeah, I can't see that one working, but especially when there are more and more EVs. But I would like to talk to the councillors further, because I honestly believe that in the city of Norwich, there's plenty of space. There's roadside parking, and there's some very small central car parks that they could allocate as EV only parking and make it free. What a great opportunity to encourage EVs into the city centre, because they're positive. Now, at some point, if everyone had EVs, they'll want to kick EVs out again because they want the traffic out of the city centre. But as an interim proposal to help adoption and push forward, I think they could make EV only parking in Norwich, and then some of the paid car parks, they could put the prices up for diesel and petrol cars, because that's where they would go. The EVs would go to the free spaces, and the other car parks, they could actually increase the prices to discourage diesel and petrol cars around. I know that would be hateful to the people that drive petrol and diesel cars. Why are you victimising us? But I see EV adoption and having a cleaner environment as something that requires a push and a pull from the two different directions. You need to encourage EVs in one hand by giving them incentives to go EV in the first place. Now, because they're cheaper, because they're better for the environment, it's free parking. The more incentives, the better. You've seen this in Norway, and how many different incentives they had to get people to adopt. But at the same time, not necessarily penalise people for having diesel and petrol cars, but make it more difficult, make it more expensive, and there should be that encouragement in both directions to make one harder and worse and one much better. So I would like to talk to the council about those sort of things as well. How about there's a lovely car park that I can think of with about 30 spaces. Why not put some posts in there, and not just one or two, make it pure EV and make them lots of posts there, and free parking for us? Why not? I mean, how much would it cost? But what a great image for the city of Norwich to say they want to be clean, they want to be green. That imagery is something that I could see them buying into. Clayton, Australia. Well, yeah, I don't think you'll be driving an EV over, will you? But great to hear from you. Thank you for coming online. Kevin, welcome, and thank you. Lobbying is easy if you know the subject, Dom Hall. Is that what you said? If you know your subject. Yeah, I found that talking to the councillor. I sat down over a coffee with him, and we were talking about cars, and he said, "Oh, I'd love to get involved with this, because we're thinking of changing our car, and we're looking at one of those self-charging hybrids, because we don't want to plug in. We're fearful of the infrastructure." And it was just like pressing a button for me. It was I couldn't help but say, "Are you really sure you want a hybrid?" And I'm not sure who's told you that you don't want to plug because there's nowhere to plug in, because most of the time you don't need to plug in. Most of the time you're at home, so you plug in at home. And he hadn't seen it, and he'd obviously been told some misleading things from a dealership. I'm not even going to say what make of dealership this was, because I don't think it's the one you're probably thinking about. The self-charging thing seems to have spread from one car manufacturer to another. There is a perception that self-charging hybrids are better because you don't have to plug in, you don't have to rely on the infrastructure. There's a lot of falseness out there being spoken by car dealerships, it seems. So anyway, that's where I was starting, and yeah, I wasn't lobbying him at the time, but it's great to be able to advise people what they could and should do. So when I told him my Kona had 300 miles and I'd only charged once at a public charger when I had to, when I needed to, he was absolutely gobsmacked that you just don't need to charge out on public chargers. So I'm just looking at messages again. Yeah, Dundee and Scotland, don't you do it so well? You've got Norway, which have done a brilliant job and they're leading the way, but Scotland just do a great job. I had a bit of a joke the other day with Susan, but it makes you wonder how much of a joke it is. You know how the Scottish have this thing about the English, and it goes back centuries, and I don't blame you for not liking the English. And then you know what's going on with Brexit? Well, I came up with an idea. Scotland wants to be part of Europe. They don't want to be part of England, Great Britain, etc. So they'd like to be independent. And our government here in the UK have just, well, they've screwed everything up, haven't they? I nearly said a really bad word. So why not leave the European Union and join Scotland and let Scotland rule England? Why not give up London, give up the UK, and be part of Scotland? Because Scotland's great. Scotland knows what it's doing, especially with EVs. So, yeah, forget Brexit. Let's join Scotland, if you'd have us, of course. Sorry, just a bit of a joke. But I can't help but say those things when they cross my mind. Yeah, sorry, I won't talk very much about it. Milton Keynes, yeah. I mean, the amount of chargers. I haven't actually been to Milton Keynes yet to see how many chargers there really are there and what it's like, but it's starting to sound like there's more chargers there than EVs. So, absolutely fantastic that they've got on board and what they do with their car experience centre, and that must be all part of some sort of formal council that's got involved to do that. It is fantastic, and they they put other towns and cities to shame, don't they? That I see Norwich as this quiet little city that's sitting back, not really doing anything progressive in respect of the environment. I've seen some adverts in newspapers and news media about there's a new rule that if you left your car idling at a traffic light, you can get a ticket. Well, what policeman or traffic person is going to stand at traffic lights and issue tickets? It's just not going to happen. It's great to have talked about it, but nothing seems to happen. And then all the public transport is all diesel. The trains are, the buses are, the taxis are quite green. They're mostly hybrids. They're mostly Ionics and Priuses around the city. But it's such a poor environmental area. It's a condensed, dense population. There's a lot of people on the streets in the city, and they've got rid of car traffic out of the city centre. But it's all buses and taxis belching 1950s and 60s diesel. So it seems it's quite unpleasant. And it would be great to start leading the way forward and getting rid of that. And what great way of starting, but to show the difference. And that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to demonstrate what it's like, the vision that since I've gone EV, I can visualize what it's like if we all had EVs. And I'd like others to see that. Yeah, okay, can't come across the ocean, can you now? Yeah, Mick, the EV Experience Centre in Milton Keynes, it is a great thing. It really is. To be able to go there and see in an unbiased way, not a car salesman, but the different options and the different cars, and then to tangibly go out and get in them and go for a drive. Absolutely fantastic. There should be more and more like that. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? What's the future of the car sales showroom? Because why, you often find in cities that where there's a Renault dealer, there's a Peugeot dealer nearby, and then the Ford dealer's not far away, and the Volkswagen dealer, they congregate, don't they? You get banks all in one area, and you get car dealers in one area. So rather than just one area, Why not have them in one place? Why not have your car represented in one place? Oh, was that a Norwich person saying about Castle Mall? Robert, hi Robert. Castle Mall has just installed lots of chargers. Same Chapelfield haven't followed suit. Yeah, Chapelfield. There's a couple, isn't there? In Chapelfield, but there's just not enough. There's a few chargers around the multi-story car parks, but there's just not enough. There's not enough chargers. The more, the better. So, Robert, do you have an EV? Would you take part? Would you be part of this and drive around Norwich in a convoy of EVs? Kevin, you got your solar panels, just need an EV. Oh, God, you got it around the other way then, yeah. I started with the EV and then put solar panels on. But if you've got the solar panels already, you need an EV, don't you, to start getting that electricity off your roof and into a car rather than going out to the grid. Fev only at the moment. Oh, no. Well, there's a good question to ask. To get more numbers, would it be sensible to include plug-in hybrids on the condition that they run in pure electric mode? Um, would that help? Plug-in hybrids are the gateway drug to full EVs. I think you're right. I think they are, but that's because of the lack of confidence. When I went EV in the first place, even I, that sounds so enthusiastic right now, I was apprehensive when I first considered them, and you can see that the plug-in hybrid is a great route, but I honestly believe that for anyone thinking that that's the stepping stone to get into EVs, it's not many days or weeks from owning the plug-in hybrid before you realise, why did I buy something with an engine when all I want to do is drive on electric? I saw one of the videos from Fully Charged Live last night with one with Jonathan Porterfield and Cleveland EVs, and the guy was saying that he's got the plug-in hybrid, but he's driving 1,500 miles before having on just pure electric before he has to actually consume the petrol from the petrol engine. And if you're doing that, if you're running so long and so many miles on just EV, and you're doing that with a, what are they, 5, 8 kilowatt hour battery, why not have a full EV? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I would actively discourage people from going hybrid or plug-in hybrid because I think they would regret it. I honestly believe that they would regret doing it because they will love the EV side of it, but want the better performance, want the better range, and they want all those benefits and the cost savings, but they don't really want to carry a polluting engine around. But for the purposes of this demonstration, perhaps that would help to get volumes up. It's almost 2020. We suck. Oh, a bit of a typo there, Daniel. I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Oh, the ionic hybrid. Okay. Yeah, we do. Burning stuff is to me it seems like a bit of human nature. It's like men eating meat. Burning stuff is just something we need, isn't it? It's innate in our nature to burn stuff to keep warm, to fuel us in all sorts of ways. So getting away from burning something is actually quite unnatural, but I it does seem very, very plausible now that in my lifetime I'm going to see a pure EV road traffic. It does seem quite plausible that most houses will be running on electric, not gas, not oil. I can see coal fires being completely banned. Um, it is it is plausible, and it seems to be accelerating so fast. I cannot believe the transformation of how it feels talking about EVs and talking about the environment and hearing people uh, adding air source and ground source heat pumps instead of gas and oil boilers. The acceleration is huge, but is that because I'm more inside the community talking about it, or is it that it's actually happening? I have to sort of question myself. Am I looking at it from a biased perspective at the moment, or is it real? And the only thing I can say is, if I look at it in an unbiased way, I do see more in the media. I do see more of the general public talking about it. The fact that I can have a meeting with a local councillor and he's thinking of going hybrid but wants to know about EVs, and the Norwich City Council and the mayor want to know, that didn't happen a year ago. There was less interest, so I think we're really accelerating things. So now is the perfect time to have a great push and really demonstrate and share with people how fantastic it is. You'll know if you're watching now and you've got an EV, you know how fantastic it is, and the amount of opportunities you'll be taking to tell people how great it is, especially the doubters that are saying, "What on earth have you bought one of those for? You know, it won't go more than 30 miles an hour, and you won't get past the end of the city without having to plug in somewhere, and then it'll be full." You know, they'll be dissing you all over the place. So it's we love telling people about our experience because it is a truly great experience. So yeah, if you're watching this, please let me know. Send me a message and let me know whether you'd be willing to take part, so that I can ascertain the number of people that it's plausible for this exhibition, this tour around Norwich. How many people is it possible to get? And then I can propose it to the mayor and give them a good impression of how many will be taking part. I'd love to see 1,000, but 1,000, that's unrealistic probably, but 100 plus, I think that's possible with some help. So please share this video, please spread the word, please get some messages to me to say whether you could or would take part in something like this this year, I hope. And yeah, probably I'll start proposing September onwards, I suppose, but try and avoid the winter. Right, I better leave it there. It looks like Susan's finishing her running and jumping in hoops behind me, so it's time to head home. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this made sense. I hope the idea goes down well, and I hope many of you decide to join in, because if the council do go ahead with this and we do get some closed road areas, it would be a fantastic demonstration of EVs, and the more the merrier. Take care for now, and see you again soon.